This is Suzanne Wagner, and welcome to the Numerology and the Astrology for August 8th, 2020. If you add all those numbers together, you get the number 2. If you breathe in and breathe out, you're doing the number 2. You're doing the duality, the two sides, the light, the dark, the good, the bad, the right, the wrong. We live in this world of duality. We live at the fringe of the Milky Way, and we're in this in-between place where there's not all light in the center, but there's a mixture of light and dark. And so within us, there is that duality, there is that light and that dark. And I try and remind everybody that, in this time, one of the things that I think is so critical for us to understand is that in the Vajrayana Buddhist tradition, they talk about that God's love and light moves through the emotional processes of the light side of the circle and gets you to the divine. But God's love and light also moves through the dark side, fear, anger, shame, guilt, resentment, grief, and will also get you there if you completely embrace those energies. So what's happened in our world is that we got light polarized, and so we stopped wanting to look at the shadow. And don't get me wrong, who wants to look at shadow? But the reality is that we all have it, and every one of us has a light and a dark side, and every one of us needs to come to terms with both of those within ourselves. So today is a day where you get to do a little bit of that dance, to notice that duality in your thinking, where you are presenting one way, but you're feeling another way, where you're expanding, where you're contracting, and realize that you can be doing both at the same time in different areas of your life. We all do it. The universe expands and contracts also. We are part of this universal flow that exists in a constantly changing environment. So while contraction is not comfortable in the least, we have to recognize that it is a part of a natural process and cycle. You have much that you want to accomplish, but there are always those small issues that crop up that seem to inhibit your progress. It is in the contraction that you get to reevaluate your choices and fine-tune your approach. Today is a day to do just that. You might have missed some key pieces of information. You might have overlooked the importance of something. Having a mind that can see a problem and make corrections is not an admitting of failure, but a strength that allows you to align with the unexpected. The astrology today is a little boring. So the moon drives forward in aggressive, enthusiastic Aries, and add to that Mars in Aries, we've got kind of double aggressive Aries, can make sort of a surge of emotions. Now, we want to channel that properly, because if it's improperly channeled, it's going to lash out, it's going to react. After all, we are in the dog days of summer. We're in this place where it's hot and you get hot under the collar, and there's a lot of kind of surging energy that's happening. Do not allow yourself to get overblown in your expectations. That is a sure way to get disappointed and then overreact. There are constant small adjustments that you will need to do along with the twisted and new pathways that we are all walking. While looking towards long-term goals is helpful, if they are reasonable, know that short-term goals will continue to be thwarted by circumstances. You will want to be direct, but independent. Look at things from a new perspective, but to not push others around. So Mercury and Venus are also running parallel, and that makes you want to talk to people, share ideas, and think out loud, and help you solve present problems. All right, my quote for today. Those that intend to insult you have an agenda to manipulate you. If you can be easily insulted, you are just as easily manipulated. Then you have to admit that you are not truly free, but being controlled by your own ego. Okay, my blog for today. We all have lived lives in other times and places where situations and circumstances did not go according to plan. You would be amazed at how often there is a curve in the manifestation waves of time. That is because sometimes there is something that is essential that we need to learn so that later Perhaps in another lifetime, we will have the tools, discernment, and conscious awareness to use them wisely. Mozart did not become Mozart in one life. You cannot be writing symphonies at the age of 4 years old without a lot of lifetimes of experience all working together to assist that manifestation in this one. The same is true for all of us. Sometimes we have to fail in order to win at another time. Sometimes we have to live through terrible events to be able to recognize and warn about them in a future moment. Sometimes that warning is enough to wake up those with other tools and abilities so that history will not repeat, but that the forces of good awaken in time to stop more evil from proliferating. But how many times do we fail in order to learn? How many times do we have to fail before we succeed? How many times does it take for humanity to interrupt the telepathic agreement fields of this world in order to break free of karma's grip? The answer is as many as it takes for you to get beyond reacting and into a place where you are able to observe human nature and know that you are more than this physical expression in this moment of time. When the duality cannot entrap your mind, nor ensnare your senses, in the dance of attachment, you can begin to break out of the karma game and into a warrior's game. In the karma game, you have no control, and you are being controlled by the fate, genetics, and past memories embodied in this incarnation. In the warrior's game, you take your own fate into your own hands with the courage and confidence to step fully into a path and a life with spontaneous choice and wild abandon. Which one would you choose? Thanks, everybody. You have a great weekend. Bye.